There have been an insane amount of allegations over the past month. There's been Dr. Disrespect, Cody Ko, and then the Ava Tyson situation. And I feel that the Ava Tyson situation was so huge because she's aligned with Mr. Beast, who's basically the biggest YouTuber in the world, that all the other allegations kind of just everyone forgot about. And Cody Ko is one of those allegations that everyone just seems to have forgotten about now. Well, surprisingly, he's actually dropped a response during everything that's been going on. Now, I know a lot of people have been on the edge of their seat waiting for Cody Ko to drop some kind of response, to the point that the YouTube algorithm thinks that that's the kind of content that people want, that this video of Cody doing a response is now being shilled everywhere.
I've been reading a lot of mean comments about me online recently, and just to those people, I wanted to warn you that I've been working on some stuff. Okay.
Now, obviously, that isn't the actual response, and I haven't misled you either. Genuinely, him and Noel have actually put a response together and put it out pretty much last night. Now, the Cody and Tana situation runs quite deep and has been going on for quite a while. I personally stayed away from it, and I didn't want to do like a response because I personally feel it's only really fair to actually, you know, cover a situation when both parties have said their side. And Cody didn't really say anything. To this day, he still hasn't uploaded, but he got an insane amount of flack when he was actually cited doing a DJ set, and this was after the video on him dropped by D'Angelo Wallace, basically exposing him. Now, Cody Ko needs no introduction. He's one of the most popular faces on the platform, and before he got called out, he was juicing insane views. And even before then, he had like an incredibly successful series with his friend Noel Miller. That's Cringe. You might remember like That's Cringe, Ajit Pai, for example.
Go back to Africa, where you came from. Do you even English, bro?
How many fake laughs do I have to do? How long do humans laugh for? After jokes. And these are jokes?
He also did reactionary content like The Button or Try Not to Laugh and, you know, general cringe reaction videos. He's also invested in a lot of other companies, like, for example, Liquid Death. That's why you see it on the desk of every single one of his videos. By the way, just a quick rule of thumb, if you ever see a YouTuber randomly have a product in all their videos, they definitely have stocks in it. It's not that they just enjoy the product. There's other companies as well, like JuneShine and Lolly. That's like a banking app, but I could not think of a worse name. There's Stir as well, Cameo, Moment House, Autograph. This guy has his fingers in a lot of investments. He also got a lot of attention when he went onto Jeff Wittick's barbershop, where he got himself a nice little haircut. And of course, he was confronted by Jake Paul.
Who's here? Your favorite YouTuber. Are you serious? There he is. I'm a nicer, dude. You don't care about
cyberbullying
kids.
Now, it's really interesting because I see a lot of people repost this clip of Jake Paul and how Jake Paul was basically trying to expose Cody Ko for like sleeping with Tana, and how he was like a whistleblower, but he didn't formulate his words properly. I think that's like BS. I don't believe that at all. I think like Jake Paul would never be able to properly call out someone in his life. And also on top of that, I think he was genuinely just on about like how Cody Ko would make videos, you know, making fun of kids and stuff. So I don't think that's related at all. I really think that is a bit of a straw pull there. Now, Tana Mongeau, I've been saying Tana Mongeau. I keep doing that because the way that the name appears, but it is Tana Mongeau. She's been a prominent face for her viral storytime videos. I'll be honest, I can imagine a lot of you are not from that part of the internet, the more female-centered part of the internet, because looking at my demographics, it is an absolute sausage fest here. You probably know her from iDubbbz's Content Cop video that he made on Tana. That was obviously a long time ago. He's deleted the Content Cop since. He's wanted to move away from that content. And also, they've actually made up. It seems that Tana and iDubbbz are actually friends now, or at least working together. She's got an OnlyFans as well. She's got a podcast with Brooke Schofield. She also collaborates with Jeff Wittick, who I mentioned earlier, the funny haircut guy who was in the accident with David Dobrik. Jeff has a podcast called Jeff FM. So what happened with Cody and Tana? You probably already know, to be fair, but I'm just going to give a quick rundown of events, mostly because, as well, I want to make the video as long as possible to maximize ad revenue. So Cody and Tana collaborated a couple of times back in 2016. They're in that scene where kind of everyone ends up meeting everyone. And she says in her personal opinion that looking back on it and reflecting, that dynamic felt forced and very strange. And then they eventually both diverted. They moved onto their different career paths and they didn't really interact with each other since. However, Tana has actually spoken up numerous times in the past about how Cody and her hooked up when she was 17 years old and he was 25 years old. She mentioned this around May when her podcast was on tour. And one of the first mentions of Cody by name is someone in the audience when she was on tour asked, "What's the smallest dick you've ever seen?" And then she goes up on stage and she answers by saying, "Cody Ko."
Who's the smallest dick you've ever had sex with?
Oh my god, do no one look at me, Cody Ko.
Now, some people even saw this at the time as a bit of a joke because, you know, Cody Ko, he works with Noel Miller. They literally have a company together called TMG, Tiny Meat Gang. The joke is their schlongs are small. And they've even made music together talking about how small their dicks are. But this didn't stop people from looking into it and wondering and speculating when they actually first hooked up. Now, it was apparent that this might have actually happened at Playlist 2016, which was in Orlando, Florida. So this could have happened in Orlando or it could have happened in California, both states having an age of consent of 18. And Tana would have been 17 at the time. But then eventually later down the road, she talked on a podcast feeling that she was taken advantage of at the time. And she's realized by the reaction that people had to the information, wow, this actually wasn't okay. It is also important to note that Tana has been mentioning this story a lot of times, but she never actually specifically named Cody up until then. And a lot of people shut down her claims at the time because she had an OnlyFans and also the iDubbbz Content Cup and also the mess that was TanaCon as well. But also keep in mind that these allegations were mentioned as far back as 2021. Now, this is a story that's always been like bubbling below the surface for a while, but it hasn't really gained that much traction. But it really picked up steam from that clip on her tour that went viral, like being shared everywhere because Cody Ko was named. And then you had other channels like H3 and Adam McIntyre speak up about it, comment about it. But again, it didn't really gain much momentum and Cody was still uploading and basically getting more views in his solo channel career than he's ever got. Even Rolling Stones published an article all the way back in June, which again, like nothing really happened after that. Obviously, as you all know, this all changed when D'Angelo Wallace uploaded his video breaking down the entire situation and basically saying that everything that I've just said. He also called out pretty much all the commentary channels, saying that it's like a boys club and how they'll talk about certain situations but purposely avoid others. I mean, I've already said at the start of this video, the reason why I stayed away from the Cody Ko situation is because I feel it's only really fair to talk about something when both parties have said their piece, even if the accused party's response is absolutely terrible. I think it's then fair to talk about, for me personally. And I know a lot of people will probably ask, why aren't you talking about the Ava Tyson situation? I've said on stream a couple of times, I recorded a video, it was about 90% edited, and then I watched through it and I just thought, I'm saying everything that Critical is saying. Like, I'm not adding anything of substance. His video is like on the best part of 10 million views now. Is there really any point doing this video apart from getting a quick bag? Not really, so I just left it and I didn't upload it. Now, some important things that D'Angelo does bring up in his video is Cody Ko is obviously married now. He has a child. And when he was married, he actually ended up texting Tana, basically trying to, you know, do a bit of a fishing expedition and say, you know, hey, are we okay? And he even found an incredibly hard to find clip of Gabby Hanna, again, someone else who is very controversial, mentioning the incident that basically matches Tana's story.
Gabby is actually on record telling the exact same story several years ago.
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
This is really bad.
Tana also does actually mention Gabby in the podcast episode where she brings up Cody Ko.
There was a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
So it does seem that the stories do line up, even though they're years apart in being told. Now, when D'Angelo dropped this video, all the other commentary channels basically uploaded their own version, like their own retelling of events, basically just taking the D'Angelo Wallace video and saying everything that he said in the video. But the point I'm trying to make is it went viral because Jarvis Johnson is, I would say, part of that Cody Ko section of the internet, more of a kind of female-centered audience. But when someone like Charlie speaks about it, that's a male-centered audience. And obviously he has a lot more pull, a lot more reach. So it just ends up that everyone now knows about this situation. And it's interesting as well because it led to a lot of creators talking about their own personal experiences. Hassan, for example, he basically said after his appearance on TMG, he said that he never got that vibe off Cody. And this led to a lot of other people cutting ties with him. Like, for example, Danny Gonzalez, he had a collab with Cody Ko and he ended up basically privating it and changing the description of it. And this is something I do personally believe with like any cancellation on the internet. I don't think it's the public dropping you that's the problem. I think if people that you've worked with and your friends start dropping you, that's when it's like actually curtains. That's when it's GG's and game over. Tana actually even shared some conversations with Cody when she was 16, basically implying that they hooked up more than once.
It also just wasn't like one time. Like I hooked up with Cody Ko so many times across the years. How old was I on April 28th, 2015?
You were what?
Shut up. And I was just such a fan. That's like the sad part.
Now, this is where the Cody Ko rabbit hole gets a lot deeper. Obviously, we all know the Tana situation, but what happens with videos like this that get dropped, more and more people tend to come forward. There was a call out made that he might have dated someone at high school called Evie Blackburn. There was a Reddit post that was made on his subreddit because, as you know, when a YouTuber gets into drama, the subreddit is always the first place that turns on them. And this showed basically a Vine that was recorded with her, as well as a picture of them at a music festival together. Now, Evie herself has not actually come forward to like confirm or deny any of this, and at the time of recording she's basically just privated her entire Instagram, so it's pretty obvious that she isn't comfortable talking about this. And then another thing people started to criticize Cody Ko for was the people that he was associating with. Like, there was someone that he had an association with called Colby Leachman, and this is someone that he went to the Duke University with. So back in 2011, Colby and another classmate, this is not Cody Ko, by the way, I'm not saying that Cody Ko did any of this, he didn't. People are simply calling him out for his association with this guy Colby. So Colby and another classmate actually drugged a girl called Ariana Kayumi, and one of them actually ended up taping an assault. And once people found out who Colby was back in Cody's vlogging days, you slowly noticed that Colby was appearing less and less in Cody's vlogs. But Cody got the most amount of criticism because Colby actually appeared at Cody Ko's wedding. And that's something that D'Angelo Wallace gave a lot of criticism to Cody for, almost like you're trying to, you know, not include Colby in content, but you're keeping him as more of a secret, that you'll still have him at like wedding events and stuff. Now, again, the accusations against Cody, they're pretty big. So usually what a lot of YouTubers do is they go completely off the grid. They stop tweeting, they stop uploading, and they take some time off to formulate a response. I've always kind of thought when YouTubers respond, I don't understand why if you don't respond in the first 24 hours, you are instantly guilty. I think it does take time to collect receipts and give your version of events, because usually getting old screenshots and stuff, it does take a long amount of time. So personally, I believe if you take some time off to, you know, not do anything and just focus solely on getting a response out to save your career and to save your impression and to save your own dignity, then that's fine, as long as it doesn't go on for too long. That's what I thought Cody was doing, and he wasn't. He was... A couple of days after the accusations came out, he ended up actually doing a DJ set. He was fulfilling what I believe to be a contract at the Encore Club DJ residency. This was in the Wynn, Las Vegas on July 19th. Now, videos of this set went viral, mostly because one of the songs that he was DJing was Justin Bieber singing I'm So Sorry. And that's ironic for two reasons. Firstly, because at the time he did that, he still didn't put out an official response. He basically just stopped uploading onto YouTube. And on top of that as well, Justin Bieber is someone who has Cody Ko blocked on Twitter.
Big fan. He's a Canadian. I love his music. He's has me blocked on Instagram. No idea why.
What?
And this is where the Cody Ko hate went into overdrive, because like I said, a lot of YouTubers, they just go completely offline, off the grid to make a response, because, you know, if they put anything out there, they're going to get attacked. But Cody Ko didn't do that. He didn't upload a YouTube video. He didn't tweet. He didn't post anything. He actually instead ended up doing a DJ set. Now, he probably was under contract, but again, it's like, I really do feel if the entire internet is awaiting a response and everyone is going for your throat, you want to at least put something out there. And some people looked into this even deeper, thinking that he was basically mocking the situation, especially with the Justin Bieber song. I personally don't think that, but, you know, brave statement incoming. I do think he should have probably cancelled the DJ set and again stayed off the grid until he put up some kind of response. But we do now officially, finally, have an official response from Cody Ko. It's official because it is actually signed by him and Noel Miller. So this was posted on the tmgstudios.tv website. It is a paid website, but the response itself isn't actually behind a paywall. Anyone has access to it. And this response basically goes into the future of the network, that the two of them are built together, because like I said much earlier, TMG was built by Noel and Cody. They both co-own it. But like I said, these guys are complete business heads. I already talked about how Cody's invested in so many companies. They've also started other podcasts from TMG. Like, for example, Trillionaire Mindset, which is like a comedy finance podcast. Brooke and Connor make a podcast, which is like their Gen Z podcast. Stretch and Fade, which is Noel and Meat Canyon's former podcast. And also Insanely Chill, which was Cody's solo podcast that would have, like, you know, various guests on. And obviously with Tana's Controversy, mostly spearheaded by D'Angelo Wallace's video, and then obviously done by Critical, which made everyone see it. It couldn't be ignored anymore, and a lot of these TMG episodes stopped airing. So this was a joint statement that was released. It was basically written by Cody and Noel, but it might have just been wrote by Noel and then Cody kind of signed off on it at the end. it is a little bit confusing to who wrote what, but they're basically saying what will happen to Cody during the period of this network, and they're saying that Noel is basically going to lead it, instead of obviously it being Cody and Noel. This morning, we shared the note below with the employees of TMG Studios. We wanted to share it with you as well. Our shows will resume in the coming weeks. Thank you for your support. Hi everyone, we want to start by saying thank you for all your patience while we were working to figure out the best path forward for the studio. We know it's been a very strenuous few weeks for everyone, and we really appreciate your willingness to bear with us. You are the most creative and incredible group of people. We feel so lucky to work with all of you. TMG Studios is what it is because of you. We couldn't be more proud of the incredible roster of talent we've been privileged to work with and everything we've accomplished together. As we enter into this next phase of the studio, we wanted to let you know that Cody will not be involved in the day-to-day operations at TMG Studios. Now, keep in mind, the wording there is very clever. It's like they're not cutting him off. He's not stepping down. This isn't like an Ava Tyson situation where she said that we both came to the decision for me to step away, and then Mr. Beast came out the next day and said, no, actually, I cut her off and she's being investigated. This is like Cody isn't going to be ahead, but we're not actually saying that he's going to leave the company. What has transpired over the past few weeks is a personal issue for him, and Cody wants to remove any effect this is having on your professional and personal lives and the work you and other hosts have done to make TMG Studios so successful. Again, keep in mind this email went out to like all the employees, and then it was publicly released as well. It wasn't leaked. They posted this themselves. Noel will continue to lead the way. His top priority remains the life and growth of the studio and its talent. Our audience sees your hard work every week, and we want that to continue. They deserve it, and so do you. We have built something truly special, and he's committed to keeping that alive and well. Sincerely, Cody and Noel. Now, this statement is basically came after a couple TMG shows have basically cut ties with them. After hearing the Cody Ko allegations, they don't want to work with them, and they wanted to go independent. A good example is a podcast called Emergency Intercom. Drew and Enya, the hosts, basically did an announcement on Instagram that after 2 months of being in the network, they wanted to go back to being independently produced. And that's huge because they only recently actually joined the network, and also TMG designed a entire specific set for them as well. Now, this is the second departure. The first departure was Trillionaire Mindset. This happened last year, and this was due to the hosts wanting to basically pursue their own show outside of the network. That was hosted by two people called Ben and Emil, and obviously after the Tana expose, a lot of people asked them for their opinion, and they basically just said, like, we didn't really have much contact with Cody outside of recordings, and they didn't want to say much else either because of possible lawsuits. Now, again, the statement itself, it is incredibly vague. I mean, again, this was basically a work email that they posted publicly, I guess, to be like, guys, we are saying something about it, but obviously, again, this is like, it's better than the DJ set, I'll give them that, but still, they're not really saying anything. And also, if you read between the lines, it's very, very obvious they're not cutting Cody from the company. They're basically just saying that he's stepping down. I mean, he's probably a co-owner. He probably owns like half the company. It's obvious they're not cutting him. He's staying in the company, but he's just like stepping down in his roles. What I was hoping the response would say is he's taking time to step down to, I guess, almost like work on a response, but there's no mention of that either. Now, again, like I said, my own personal belief, if a YouTuber has heavy allegations, it's fine for them to go off the grid and to, you know, formulate some kind of response. I don't see a problem with not putting something out in the first 24 hours, because usually you're going to be very panicked, anxiety ridden, and you're probably going to put something out there that is complete trash if you don't have the receipts instantly on hand. But on top of that as well, I'm really trying to be devil's advocate for Cody, but I can't. I can't. Like, he's done the DJ set. They put out this response where they're basically saying Cody's stepping down, but he's not leaving the company. It seems like an email to stop other people at TMG from leaving. I mean, look at other situations that have happened recently with content creators that have had, you know, serious allegations. Dr. Disrespect, the company that he was with, Midnight Society, put out a full statement saying, no, we're dropping him. And then obviously, who I mentioned earlier as well, Mr. Beast, he basically said that I'm dropping Ava and Ava is being investigated. And again, nowhere in that statement says that he's not being part of the company anymore, just that he's not being as hands-on. But again, I do think they wanted the public to see this because, you know, like the TMG website, it's a paywalled website, it's like a Patreon, but that apology, or well, not really an apology, more like a response, that was free to access. Anyone can access that. So they wanted that to kind of, you know, disseminate throughout the internet, definitely. Another example is when like Cody Ko used to say the N-word. Again, I can already see people pulling up the Pyrocynical N-word compilations when I was a cringy little white boy that never left the house, and it really, really shone. He did an apology for that, and he actually put it behind a paywall. So you basically had to pay to even see that apology. Obviously, that's been leaked everywhere online now, like everyone's seen that. But originally, that was behind a paywall. But this TMG response, it wasn't. It really does like like beg the question, what is he going to do now? Is he going to do a response, or is he kind of just going to let it, you know, just hopefully everyone forgets? Hopefully there's another Ava Tyson situation that kind of takes the heat off him for a bit. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what's going through his head. Cody Ko isn't really someone I've watched. I actually did have a conversation with him. This wasn't in person. This was over Instagram DMs. I'm not joking. No word of a lie. The only conversation I've had with Cody Ko is me doing an Instagram story where his network copyright claimed my video, and I tagged him in it, and then he DM'd me and reached out and basically said, oh shit, sorry about that, man, that sucks, let me get that reversed for you. And then it was reversed a little bit later. That's it. That's the only interaction. I mean, I appreciate that your company was able to overturn that and stuff, but that's like the only time I've actually had a conversation with the guy. He basically has two paths now. You know that meme of like, you know, the really light castle and then the really dark castle that's all evil with the thunder? He has two choices. He can respond to the allegations, you know, admit what he's done is bad, you know, maybe pull up a bunch of receipts and stuff. I don't know. And then the other one will be to just kind of ignore it, which will be the bad one, because if you ignore it again, it is just going to basically follow you around until the end of time.